Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm ABC 13 meteorologist Rachel Bryers. We are continuing to track Beryl as it continues to move off to the northwest, getting closer to the Texas coastline as of every single hour. And we did just get the latest in as of 1 p.m., literally about a minute ago here into the studio. I do want to start off, though, with what is happening currently outside, and then we will get to that latest track and see if there's any sort of changes with this latest advisory, this intermediate one. So let's talk about what's happening outside, though, because we have these very heavy showers and storms moving off to the northwest right now. They have pushed through Houston, so Houston we have dried on out. It is pushing, though, over towards Brenham, Columbus. It's in Cypress, Conroe, and Liberty. You still have some rain, but you are getting a break from the heaviest rain. So again, moving off into a northwesterly direction. And the reason for that is it's rotating around that circulation of Beryl. So let's take a closer look at some of these spots receiving heavy rain. We see it towards Tomball, Cypress, the Woodlands, Conroe right now. A lot of lightning in this, so just know that you're going to hear thunder, and if you do, head on indoors. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off right now, though, just so we can get a better picture of who's seeing the heaviest rainfall. So you can see next on this list here, Hempstead, Magnolia, Montgomery, y'all are all up next to see that heavy rain. Now let's continue off to the northeast. We're also seeing heavy rainfall, a little bit more broken off towards Cleveland and over towards Livingston. This is also going to momentarily be making its way into Cold Spring. New Waverly, you will also be getting this within the next 20 to 30 minutes. So just make sure that you head on indoors if this is heading towards you. Now, this is the first rain band we are pretty much seeing here in southeast Texas. We had a little bitty one earlier today, but it kind of dissipated rather quickly. Katy, now we are starting to dry on out. Sealy still getting that heavy rain, and we're seeing that extend down to the south towards Eagle Lake and even over towards Hallettsville and off towards Yoakum. So Columbus, this is moving towards you. Belleville, Hempstead. So this again will be heading into your direction. So let's go ahead and let's take a closer look at some of our key messages when it comes to Beryl. First off, we are already starting to see our seas become a bit more elevated. That storm surge really anticipated to start getting worse heading into tonight, going throughout the day on Monday. Those hurricane force winds expected to arrive late tonight going into Monday. For a lot of us, it will be in that overnight time period. And then significant flash flooding possible along and east of the center's track. In addition, one of the other threats we're going to be watching for is the potential for tropical tornadoes in those rain bands. This will be possible this afternoon all the way throughout the day on Monday. So let me show you the latest on Beryl here. It's 65-mile-per-hour winds at this point. It is still a tropical storm. It looks like it is continuing to move off to the northwest at about 10 miles per hour, wind gusts of 75 miles per hour. Now bear with me, I may have to tweak this track just a bit, but it does look like that track in general, it looks like it has stayed about the same. Let's see. It does look like it's still going to make landfall along the middle Texas coast as we head into the early morning hours on Monday, and then from there should continue to make its way off to the northeast. It does look like generally, though, the same general direction of where it could be, either rolling into Matagorda Bay or making its way straight into Matagorda County. But there still is a little bit of a room for error, and depending on which side of this track it ends up tracking on, that could potentially change the exact threats at your home. So we'll go through those threats in a moment, but looking like it'll make its way onto land by around 3 a.m. to about 6 a.m. on Monday as a Category 1 hurricane with 85-mile-per-hour winds. Then it's going to continue to make its way off to the northeast. And that's the good news, really, is that it will move rather quickly away from us. So by the time we get to later on Monday night, we're going to start to see those impacts decrease. By the time we get to Tuesday, may have some leftover moisture, but the bulk of the impacts from that system will be off to the north of us. So let's talk about where these computer models are still clustered, and they're right around Matagorda Bay into Matagorda County. So at this time, it looks like that is most likely where this will end up. So let's walk through our future track here. And I do want to mention, again, this is not set in stone. This is one model. That model, though, is mimicking what is happening outside with our radar right now with Beryl. So that's why I've chosen this one to go with. But just know that there are other models that are showing just a little bit of a shift here and there, but generally the same consensus. So we have that first band that's going to continue to lift up to the northwest. But that's not it. We're going to have another band coming in as we head into the afternoon, as well as going into the evening hour. So we're still going to see these bands on and off. And it's within these bands that we do have to watch out for that tornado threat, and just the threat for, heavy rainfall in general, and the threat for a lot of lightning. But again, we're going to keep a close eye on that potential for rotation. Now we should start to see Beryl making its way onto land. I'm going to push this back just a little bit closer to that 2 to 3 a.m. hour. Again, not set in stone, but generally I would say around Matagorda Bay, possibly over towards Matagorda County, is where this could end up making landfall. So a lot of us will probably be asleep at this time. And then by the time we get to around 3 a.m., that's when we're going to really start to see those impacts spread closer to I-10. Heavy rainfall across a good portion of southeast Texas at this time. Going to continue to see that heading into the morning hours on Monday. So I want you to pause here for a minute. This is showing you what the radar could look like at 8 a.m. A lot of us trying to get to work at about 8 a.m. So you do want to make sure that you do not just go about your business as usual tomorrow. This is going to impact you. Let's say you have to get into work. You need to skew, probably how you would usually do your day to what is happening outside of the current, because we do not want anybody out driving in flooding and completely heavy rainfall, and also with these gusty of winds that we are anticipating, because that is going to cause a lot of accidents out there and a lot of flooded roadways. So just make sure that you are able to pivot your day. This is not just going to be your average work day. So we just want you to be prepared for what we are in store for. Now, as we get closer to the noon hour, it does look like the eye of the actual system will be mainly north of I-10 at that time. Does that mean we're done? No, we're still going to see rain bands sticking around throughout the day on Monday. Monday night, hopefully we will start to see things become a bit more isolated. And we're still going to have enough moisture on Tuesday to continue to see more scattered shower and thunderstorm development. But really heading into Tuesday morning, that circulation should be making its way over towards Arkansas. So now let's talk about how much rainfall we are anticipating. Again, it depends on where the exact track goes, but we could be looking at 5 to 10 inches along and just east of the path. 15 inches, though, possible in spots. So this is just one model, and I don't want you to focus in on the fact that it is showing 6 inches here in Houston, or it's showing 10 inches in Sugar Land. That is not necessarily going to fall at your house. It's just giving us a general idea of how much rain we could see. So I would not be surprised if a lot of us are looking at 5 to 10 inches with maybe slightly lower rainfall totals the further off you get to the east. But where that tracks, we could see up to 15 inches of rainfall. So flooding is going to be an issue here in southeast Texas. I want to show you our flood threat here. This is actually a high flood threat. It does include Palacios, Angleton, Galveston, Wharton, Houston, Columbus, Brenham, Conroe, all the way up towards Huntsville, and then continuing up to the north from there. Outside of that, there is still a moderate risk of flooding. So that's why there is a flood watch in effect starting tonight, going until Tuesday morning for pretty much all of southeast Texas. So that is a look at our rainfall potential. Let's head over to the fact that our winds are also going to be on the very strong side. So we have a hurricane warning in effect. It includes Port O'Connor, Port Lavaca, Victoria, Edna, Matagorda, Bay City, El Campo, Angleton, and Lake Jackson. That means we could be looking at hurricane force winds. We're talking winds over 74 miles per hour. Now, the rest of us, we are not just off the hook. We are all under a tropical storm warning. That's when we could be looking at winds coming in over 39 miles per hour. So over 39, but at the highest end, we could be getting closer to 73 miles per hour. And this is sustained wind speeds that we are going to be talking about. And with that wind, that is just going to shove all of that Gulf water into our coastal zone. So storm surge warnings pretty much all along our Texas coastline, or a good portion of the mid to upper Texas coastline. So let's talk numbers here. Over towards Matagorda Bay, up to 6 feet of storm surge will be possible there. Over towards Angleton, Galveston, up to 5 feet of storm surge. This also does include up into Galveston Bay, up to 4 feet of storm surge as we get closer to the Louisiana border. So I want to put this in perspective real quick. Galveston, again, we have up to 5 feet of storm surge. In Alberto, we saw about 4 feet of storm surge. So it's possible this could be about a foot higher than what we were experiencing with Alberto that, moved into Mexico a few weeks ago. Now, let's move on to our winds here, and this is our latest hurricane track. And you can see right in between the track, that's where they have this, their peak winds in red here of 74 to 110 miles per hour. So that is going to be a possibility from Wharton, even into parts of Fort Bend County, Angleton, Lake Jackson, Bay City, Matagorda, Palacios. So, I'm even talking Sugar Land and Missouri City included in that peak winds threat of 74 to 110 miles per hour. And then outside of that, we have this level of orange, which is 58 to 73 miles per hour. So we do have to watch out. Yes, for the flash flooding. Yes, for the potential, of seeing street flooding. We're also going to keep a close eye on any sort of river flooding, and we'll also watch those bayous as well. But when it comes to wind, we're going to be most concerned about the potential, one, for trees, in general. We see tree limbs going to have some issues there. But in addition, power outages. That's what we are anticipating being one of our main issues with this storm. So prepare for that. Prepare. Have everything pretty much charged up tonight before you head into bed, because by the time you by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, there is a chance you may or may not have power. And if you don't have power, we are still going to be streaming on your phone as well all day long, so you can catch that on our app, or you can go to abc13.com. We will have all the latest details for you. But yes, winds. Let's talk about our wind gust potential. And again, the exact track is still a little bit uncertain. It is getting a little bit better as this continues to get closer to us. But we're going to start to see those winds really ramping up as we head into the overnight hours. These are wind gusts, and this is showing, near 80 mile per hour winds gusts near Palacios. Now, again, this is if it takes this exact track. But also at this time, look up towards Sugar Land, Pearland, Galveston, over 50 mile per hour wind gusts. Let's get closer to the 6 a.m. hour, and I believe this is when Houston will most likely be looking at our highest wind gusts, over 70 miles per hour possible there, over 80 mile per hour possible in Sugar Land, so can't rule that out. And then as we continue throughout the morning, we start to see those high numbers getting pushed up towards Tomball, Sugar Land still, Brenham, College Station, and then eventually up towards Huntsville and Conroe as we head into about midday. Still going to see those really high wind gusts as we head into the afternoon, especially north of I-10. South of I-10, though, hopefully we'll start to see those winds subside just a bit. And then by the time we get to Monday night, that's when those winds should start to, I would say, wane just a bit. So we talked winds, we talked storm surge, we talked rainfall potential. Let's also talk about, one thing we never want to, chat about, our tornado risk. And unfortunately, whenever we have tropical systems like this, we do have to be on the watch for any sort of rotation. And there is a moderate risk, pretty much Harris County down to the south and then off to the east as well. And outside of that, in the yellow area, that is still an elevated risk. So I do want to start off with what's happening outside. You can see, those waves in Galveston already looking pretty mean out there. Texas City Dike still in pretty good shape. Doesn't look too bad. We can still see the piers, so that is good news. Lake Conroe, we're definitely seeing some shaking out there as those winds pick up as those storms start to push towards you. And in Houston right now, we are also looking at, rainfall that just rolled through. So I'm going to end here, since we went through all the threats of what is happening outside on radar, because I know a lot of us are going to be concerned about all the thunder and lightning and heavy rainfall we're currently dealing with. And you can see we are stretching up towards Columbus to Conroe to Livingston, seeing that heavy rain band rolling on through, moving off to the northwest. Luckily, though, it is moving at a pretty good pace. So flooding concerns from that rain band look to be on the very low side at this point. Now, we are also starting to see scattered activity pushing in down towards Angleton and heading over into Galveston. A lot of lightning coming in with this system over towards Conroe. Hempstead, this will be rolling towards you soon enough. Cold Spring and Livingston heading into your neck of the woods. And then as we head down to the south, Belleville, this is going to be pushing towards you as well. So we are going to keep a close eye on this for you as we head throughout the rest of the day today. That was our latest update as of 1 p.m. We'll have more updates coming up at 4 p.m. We'll have more on, the newest information from the National Hurricane Center, but we will continue to track the radar and all of these threats throughout every single hour on the hour. So you can always check in with us throughout the day on our ABC 13 live stream. And then, yes, we'll have more for you coming up on ABC 13 at 4 p.m.